G'day guys, Kerry here out at 40k Farm in Melton. What a beautiful spring day we're having today, check it out. Blue skies, light winds, and after the battering of extreme wind we've had across the state in recent days, I hope you're enjoying a nice calm day outdoors too. And it's October, early October 2013, so spring's going hard and going well. And on a day like today where the sun's out and the wind is light, I've got some extra special friends that I wanted to introduce you to right now, who are really making the world a better place. And put it this way, if you eat food, whether you're a vegan or a vegetarian or omnivore, then they're very good friends of yours too. Because what other creature has the amazing distinction of, by collecting its own food, actually makes more food available for the creatures and animals around it, including humans. So through the services of pollination, bees are one of the most necessary insects on the planet for the survival of humanity. Imagine if 1/3 of all the food that we eat disappeared. Now globally, you may know this, bee populations and health in general are on the decline. But fortunately, there's been a countercurrent, a resurgence, an increased uptake of urban beekeeping. So as a responsible beekeeper, I'm trying to make this information available to you in case you meet one of your friendly local beekeepers and you can have a chance to have a look at the hives, or if not, I wanted to introduce you to our very special friends here. Now, I certainly wouldn't recommend waltzing straight up to any old beehive. They're of different temperament, but on the whole, they're a calm and peaceable species. They don't really care for harassing or hurting humans. But certainly it's good to have experience first and knowledge about the habits of bees. And as a reasonably long-term beekeeper, I know what to do in the event of a sting, which we're going to show you in a sec. We're going to mock that up. But more importantly, I know that the habit of bees is just to go about their business. We're going to have a close look now, and we'll see how fully engaged they are in going out into the world, braving the elements, cars, trucks, lawnmowers, birds, other predators, to collect the food they need to raise their young and to make a strong colony that will live year after year. Look at this, the bustling flight control centre, bee headquarters. When the sun really shines in here, they just go ballistic. So they really are solar powered insects. If you imagine there's only a few hours of good sunlight each day, whereby flowers open up and offer their goodness to insects such as bees, well, the bees have to go hard to make the most of that short opportunity. Have a close look. Some of the incoming bees, wow, some of the sacs of pollen, brightly coloured yellow and orange pollen on their back legs of the bees flying back in are quite large, must be very heavy to fly all the way back with, and that's the pollen they're bringing back, one of the key ingredients to the food source for their young, and of course for the ultimate honey. Most of the bees that you can see here are female bees, the workers, the ladies doing all the hard yards, going out, braving the elements, collecting the food, the water, keeping the house clean, raising the young. It's kind of like Tony Abbott's Utopia. Well, there's a few males, but they're on the whole larger, if you notice the larger ones, and they're definitely more dopey, and they don't really do anything contributing to the working or the functioning of the colony. They're around for reproduction, so in that sense they're necessary, but they don't collect food, they don't do any work, they treat life like it's a party. And I suppose accordingly, they get booted out in autumn when honey supplies are more tightly controlled and as the weather starts to move towards winter. So they actually get ejected from the hive. This is marvellous. Perfectly contented, going about making the world a better place. As I said, I wouldn't encourage anyone just to walk right up and become so close to a colony of bees until you're familiar and comfortable with them, and certainly until you know how to get a bee sting out, which we're going to show you in a sec. But how great is this? They're just fully engaged in what they're doing, and we're able to be here and enjoy that. Particularly if we see bees in the environment, in our garden or in parks, on flowers and so on, they're remarkably peaceful. They'll just, if we happen to brush one off, they'll fly up and get back to it as soon as they can. They don't really attack people in that way. But most people, and just as well, we have a cautionary instinct about bees, because they could do a lot of damage if they wanted to, and that's why we have respect for them. We're just going to put the camera down now and mock up what it looks like with a bee sting, and how to get that out quickly and cleanly to avoid pain and the inflammation, the swelling that can come from having a bee sting. It's not altogether pleasant. Here's my little model bee sting. It's slightly larger than the real thing. So you can see it's just a common bobby pin. It's got the sharp barb on one end. So in terms of a bee sting, this is the barb that's going to stick in and hold the sting in place. Up here, importantly, we have the venom sac. Now when a bee stings a creature or a human, it's the ultimate sacrifice, the last line of defense. Because this sting will actually detach from the abdomen of the bee will then go and die. So it's a bittersweet situation. Good for the bee to know she's trying to defend her colony and her family, but ultimately ends in tragedy. So I've just popped this in my calloused thumb like any good seamstress would. Here's my bobby pin, my model bee sting. Now instinctively, if I notice pain somewhere on my body, I'm going to look, and if I see it's a bee sting, I'm going to grab it and try and pull it out. But the key difference is just to stay calm, knowing that you've got about 30 seconds to a minute to get this out without stressing, because this little venom sac will actually pulse by itself, pushing venom down the barb into the wound. Now if I just grab that and rip it out, sure, I'll get the sting out earlier, but I will have delivered conveniently all the venom into the wound. So that's a cunning little trap. Pretty cool evolutionary system. But we're humans, we're going to use our brain. We're going to say, I'm going to grab my nearest fingernail and I'm going to put it against the skin at the base of the barb and push the bee sting back the way it came, wiggling, pushing, staying calm, not pushing any of that venom in. And I'm just going to wiggle it. There we go, working it out until it pops out. And that's the key difference between a small amount of pain and discomfort or a large amount of swelling and irritation that can sometimes last for days. So with that extra bit of knowledge, knowing that bees are really just totally focused on the task at hand and only fight back in self-defense, knowing they really just want to go and get all the nectar and pollen they need to make honey and that beautiful food source that, if we're lucky, we can share in too, and that amazing capacity to gather their own food in a way that enables more food to be produced. The seed of plants, bigger and better fruits come about when flowers have been pollinated by flying insects like bees. So I hope you meet a friendly local beekeeper soon and can participate in the wonders and the joys of local urban beekeeping. Maybe next time we'll have a closer look inside the hive, and that's where it really gets exciting. But the best thing is just to let the bees do their thing, and it's a marvel to behold. So I hope that's helped in some way, and I look forward to catching you next time. Thanks for coming along. All the best.